It's time to get educated on the craziness impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses around the world.
Good day, everyone, and welcome. I am Katie Petrick, joined today by my partner in crime, which, given what the top story that we're talking about is, maybe I shouldn't say partner in crime, but we'll get to that. David Fiorazzo, that is you. As always, please do hit that share button, because I once was told that sharing is caring. All right, we are going to start in Texas, where parents are furious. Rightfully so, by the way, after a middle school teacher who sexually abused her 13-year-old student for more than 3 years just received a sentence that have just a few people, and by few I mean many people, questioning the judge. David, what happened here?
Okay, so first of all, they began the relationship when he was 12 and then began sexually assaulting the boy, the child, when he was 13, and apparently it went on for 3 years. This is the thing that really bothers me about these stories when you talk about young boys with, they're growing and their hormones they're going, oh, okay, I get to have free sex, and then they realize that they're taken advantage of. It's really sad in this case. So she'll spend 60 days in prison for sexually assaulting a young teen over the course of 3 years, and the boy actually told authorities, you'll hear this too in a video coming up in a minute, that they had sex in the classroom, obviously with all the kids gone, and in her car, according to the affidavit. And this is really sad, but I think we have a video. There's the teacher right there. Watch this video, you hear more.
On Tuesday, Marka Bodine pled guilty to aggravated sexual abuse of a child under 14. Court documents reveal the former Tomball ISD teacher befriended a 13-year-old student on an online video game and sexually assaulted him for 3 years. They texted, exchanged explicit photos and videos, and had sex in her classroom and car several times. Judge Greg Glass sentenced Bodine to 60 days in jail and 10 years probation, far shy of prosecutors' push for at least 20 years in prison.
There are certain types of cases that, in my opinion, really should only warrant punishment, and that is this kind of case.
Harris County Prosecutor Jana Oswald is chief of the Crimes Against Children's Division. She says the max sentence could have been life in prison.
I'm heartbroken for the complainant and his family. I am really disappointed in the outcome as a prosecutor, as a child abuse prosecutor, and I'm disappointed as a citizen of Harris County.
All right, no, David, you're not allowed to talk because I'm assuming here you identify as a male. So as a female, the females get to talk here, just like the prosecutor was speaking there. Every time we have this happen between a teacher and a student, if it is a male teacher and a female student, then everyone wants to throw the book at them. If it's a female teacher and a male student, somehow, some way, she gets off pretty easy. Yep. David, you didn't emphasize it enough. But 60 days, only 60 days, not 60 months, 60 years, 60 days. And depending on which months of the year, that's less than 2 months. 60 days for 3 years of sexually abusing a teenage boy. And obviously she has her own mental issues, because they had that relationship, as you said, when they were, started when he was just 12, and they just, started talking and getting to know one another. And they found out that the families, he had a similar family situation to kind of like what she had. This is just a little side tangent, but it's almost the exact same story. But when I was working at my local newspaper, I was the editor of the local newspaper, the same thing happened in one of the local school districts. And it was the Spanish teacher, the high school Spanish teacher, started to have an affair with, I don't remember if he was 15 at the time when it started, but like a 15-year-old student. And it was, he had family problems and she was there to listen. And then she actually had two daughters and a husband. But then, she even, like when the family finally moved out of state, she traveled out of state to go see him. Like, these are textbook kind of cases. And again, in the same instance, female teacher, male student, female teacher gets off light. Yeah,
it's almost a fatal attraction in a way, where in this case, fascinating that the teacher, Bodine, even moved into the apartment complex where the young boy lived after she, I guess, divorced and left her husband. She goes to where the kid is, and there's an ironic twist in this story that the judge sentences her to 60 days in jail for sexually abusing the 13-year-old boy, but she's going to have a baby, apparently. So there's new headlines that say she can remain free until June of next year, June of 2023, when she then must report to prison. So the baby is not from the boy, but maybe from her ex or something. Katie, this has got all kinds of plot twists in it. It would be a good soap opera, actually.
It probably would, and you could star. But when I read that, it just made me sad. It made me so sad that that young child is going to someday learn, oh, by the way, while mommy was, pregnant with me and then had me, oh, she was going through this trial and everything because she sexually abused a teenage boy. Like, I feel for that child.
With all the censorship taking place on social media platforms, we've made it easy to keep up with your favorite content. Simply download the Freedom Project Media app in your app store. Get access to 18 new videos a week, plus thousands of archived shows, lecture series, and educational animations. Download the Freedom Project Media app on your Apple TV, Roku, tablet, or phone, and make sure you allow for notifications to keep you informed.
Well, we may have one bad mother who is coming out of Texas, but we have another warrior mother in Texas, and she's doing good things for the children. So she took her fight all the way up to the state legislature in Texas. We're talking about Gabrielle Clark. She is a mom of 2 school children, and she's simply fed up with the woke indoctrination, and so she decided to drive 3 hours all the way to Austin, Texas. She stayed overnight in a hotel so she could attend a public education meeting in front of the Texas House of Representatives. This was back in June. And so she had quite an informative, enlightening, insightful, what other adjectives may I use? But we'll take a look at what she had to say, but it was good for her.
Surprising.
And if my daughter is taught CRT at all, I will sue you. If my daughter is taught SEL at all, I will sue you. I am encouraging every parent I know to sue you. To sue every teacher, principal, every system, everybody up the chain. Because we're tired, y'all. We don't need CRT. We don't need SEL. We don't need, hey, and listen, I'm an atheist, bisexual, biracial, homeless person. I want school choice. I do not want my child to be taught that just because she's black and a woman, she ain't gonna make it. I do not want my child to be taught that she needs to express herself sexually in her classroom. Every single day, we go to schools and we see our teachers lie to us, lie right to our faces. And y'all say you have our best interest at heart? So why does everything have to be so difficult? Why can't we just go to people and say, hey, look, this is wrong, and state the reasons why, and then they fix it? Why does it have to be X amount of steps to get to where we need to be? Why do you have to be a lawyer in order to figure all of this stuff out?
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, because we didn't get to see the other camera angle, all the politicians just sitting there going,
Or they were like, yeah, big deal.
Could be that
Threatened
too.
to sue, right? They're not afraid.
Whoopity-doo, yeah.
They're not afraid of parents. They should
not.
be, but they're not afraid of parents. And by the way, the headline over at the Blaze says a lot of parents are too afraid to speak, and that's true. So kudos to someone like her. Yeah, she checked the box of all these biracial,
atheist, bisexual, biracial, homeless person.
But
That's what
good
she said.
for her for wanting to protect her child and, wanting school choice. Why won't more parents get involved here? If they are keeping their kids in these government schools, why aren't more of them speaking out like this woman.
Well, and Clark has been doing this for several years now. We've reported on her in the past. She's been fighting since back in 2020 or even longer, but back in 2020 was when she lived in Nevada, and she filed a lawsuit then against a series of LA charter schools and educational agencies and school officials for supposedly violating her son's free speech and due process rights. Now, she said they tried to coerce her son into accepting the CRT, as she kept saying, critical race theory, based oppressor or oppressed narrative that was being taught in the sociology class that had required graduation for him. So basically, because I remember this story, he was supposed to basically say that as a white person, which he's biracial, but as a white person, he's the oppressor and he needs to acknowledge that. And if he wouldn't take that class and pass that, he wouldn't graduate. And so we got Mama Bear coming out and being like, this is absolutely asinine. Now, she had said at the time, I wasn't going to let my son be alone in standing against it when he did. He said that anybody can be racist.
Anybody.
What? A teenager said it.
That's not
He
not
learned
correct.
something. He
Politically
knows it.
correct, right?
It's not politically correct, but that's, anybody can be racist.
Good for him.
So anybody can be racist. And I don't care what the woke say about that. Racism is being prejudiced of race, not power plus privilege or whatever. Whatever parallel language messaging they're using to describe racism now. So good on her for actually taking the fight, like right all the way up to the state legislature. Hopefully, and she moved states to get out of that situation. And I mean, hopefully something comes of it. Maybe we're bringing a little light to it. Mom and dad, maybe share this video so that other people can see that, hey, moms and dads, you can do this. You can speak up on behalf of your children and you can do something about it. Now, we're not quite sure what the status is currently of this Nevada lawsuit, but she had just moved to Texas in January of this year and she's already raising a ruckus, which is a good thing.
And Governor Abbott in Texas said that more must be done to abolish critical race theory in Texas. And he signed a law which prohibits state public school teachers from telling students that people of a particular race are superior or inferior to those of other races. So kudos, Governor Abbott, and hopefully more governors will do the same thing.
Today's show is sponsored by our friends at MyPillow. Save up to 66% on all items at MyPillow.com when you use the code Dr. Duke. That's DRDUKE. Support this show by supporting a great American company.
So we know, based on the last story, that there is at least one teenager out there who knows that anyone can be a racist. But hey, we need to.
There's one.
Apparently, one escaped the grasp of the. We must tell them they are the oppressor, but we are trying to get them at the youngest of ages. So 5-year-olds, we know, must be told that being white, simply that just makes it harder for black people because you're white, little kid. And again, we're in Austin, Texas. So Texas. What's up down there right now? We got in Austin, Texas, just a Texas theme today, I guess. We're going to be at St. Andrew's Episcopal School.
Boy.
It's one of those, posh private schools where the tuition costs just $26,870 for kindergarten.
Whoa.
My heart just sank right there. When that's for kindergarten.
Wow.
That's I need a brown paper bag. I'm hyperventilating over here.
Boy.
Now, just so you know, when I said it's posh, I truly mean it's posh because George W. Bush sent both of his daughters there to attend middle school at least.
The plot thickens.
The plot is so thick right now. So clearly, I mean, if they're at this posh school and you're spending like $26K, almost $27K a year for kindergarten, these kids are going to learn something. Here's what they're learning, as we already basically said.
Learn something, all right.
If you're white, you're a racist. So we're back in March here, March 10th to be exact, according to our little lesson sheet, our little lines. There's a poster board, and it says, "Good morning, sunflowers." Today is Thursday, March 10th, 2022. And so the kids are, I'm just imagining it. The kids, it's kindergarten, right? So they're all sitting on their little squares, on the carpet squares. And they're like, ready? I'm going to learn today. Well, I guess they were going through a section on freedom. So let's keep talking about freedom, the little poster says. Are there some people that have more freedom? Let's share our thoughts. And then obviously the children didn't really write this. They kind of, maybe some of them sort of wrote it. But according to what they've been indoctrinated to know, David, as you can see here, number one, New York has more freedom to vote than Texas. That's the first thing. So that's not political at all. Okay.
It doesn't say freedom to love?
No, see, the teachers, they originally wrote Love, Ms.
okay.
Praxis, and Ms. Shaffa. So now we know who they are.
Okay,
But then the kids were writing their little notes. So it's
Got it.
New York, by the way, has more freedom to vote than Texas. So we already know Ms. Praxis and Ms. Shaffa's political views, because how would a 5-year-old have any understanding of the freedom to vote for New Yorkers versus the freedom to vote for Texans? Anyway, what's the second thing that is on that
Number
list?
2, black people have less freedom, and white have more.
Yes, that's grammatically correct. We're in kindergarten, David.
Okay,
let's,
black and
let's
white. It's
remember.
not- that's
let's
just black
remember.
and
Let's
white.
remember.
Yeah. All right.
Also, then now we're just going to go to symbols. Number 3, $. And then so it's supposed to mean more money means more freedom. Oh, okay. I'm just wondering if a Donald Trump comment came in on that one. We'll see. But don't worry. We'll continue on. Whites make it harder for black people.
That's one of the more disturbing
Yes. What does
parts.
that? What does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, the headline of this, kindergartners taught that whites make it harder for black people. So if young white children, kindergartnens, are actually somewhat comprehending even a fraction of this, they're thinking, boy, I shouldn't have been born because I'm making it harder for black people.
And yet
Isn't that sad?
we don't know what that means. Make it harder for what? Like
For them to live?
Fill in the blank. You know, and
Yeah.
of course
Wow.
that's what these white kids then are gonna go home and just ponder and ponder and ponder and have nightmares about, because they have no ability to comprehend what that means.
No, not at
all
all.
they hear is white, I'm white, make it harder. Harder must be bad, black people. Like that they're not connecting all the dots. But anyway, number 5, whites boss, and they put an underline under that. They boss. POC, because we're teaching them persons of color.
People of color.
Yes.
Whites boss
people
people
of color around. Threatening body language. What? Just, where are the connections? I would like to be a fly on the wall in there, and just what are the connections? But hey, let's wrap it up here. We have number 6 being disabled, could get hurt. Ramps? Cannot enter building. So I don't know where that one went. And then they snuck in a number 7, you have to fight in a war. You're like, wait, huh? So I don't know where this whole conversation ends up, but hey, David,
By the way,
in case you didn't know.
yes, P.S.
P.S.
Tomorrow is
Pajama Day. Score!
Pajama
Score!
Day.
If I've learned nothing
So,
else today,
yeah.
I've learned that tomorrow is Pajama Day.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that. So yeah, that's what we have happening at the Push school there. And
Texas, though.
well, Austin, Texas.
Oh, okay, Austin.
Remember,
that's right. Oh,
forget
my
we're
goodness.
talking Austin. So
Yikes.
yeah, that's what happens when you go into Austin. Now, of course, we had a couple parents or others kind of react to what happened, because this is, according to Libs of TikTok, because Libs of TikTok is owning everything happening on the interwebs. Basically, this account Libs of TikTok is a woman who basically she was doxxed because she is smart, but she goes and looks at TikToks, puts out videos, or just copies the videos and uploads them again, of what teachers, lefties, educators, all that are putting out there, and then people get mad at her. But so all she's doing is just like,
Well, she's exposing it.
Yes, she's exposing them. She's saying, here's what's happening. But anyway, a parent actually told Libs of TikTok that when parents confront them, like the people at the school and all that, like I did, they will first say it was an oversight, so when they go to the school and say, well, how could you have this as a lesson? Like, how could you actually spend time and write it down? It gets dismissed. It was an oversight. But then if you keep, according to this parent, if you keep asking too many questions, then they will tell you you're an extremist. Oh, you're just an extremist. First they're polite. It must have been an oversight. And you ask one more question.
Don't
and
press
then,
further.
Extremist.
Don't press further.
Don't. And that same parent said, when I asked my kindergartner how often they actually talked about topics like they saw in this picture, he said it was every day. Every day. Everyday kindergartners are talking about this. This is what we're doing.
All right, well, education content is always the primary focus of the show, but before we go, let's leave you with some other stories worthy of a comment or two. We'll start with the power of Twitter. As a new study has found, executives who self-promote regularly on Twitter are more likely to receive job offers with high salaries. Andrew Winston, a professor of information, risk, and operations management at the University of Texas, Austin, says executives who promoted their expertise and qualifications on Twitter were 32% more likely to attract higher paying job offers after interviews. Dear Lord, help us. The study also concluded that self-promotion works for lower level workers too. Those seeking to become executives could get ahead faster if they regularly promote themselves on social media. However, researchers warn poorly written tweets can backfire on executive candidates if hiring managers don't like what they see. They could also face backlash from the public if they perceive them to be too self-promoting. So there's a fine line there. Katie, your thoughts on tweeting up to your salary?
Sorry, I'm busy.
She's on social media.
I just gotta write this real quick. It's
Make sure
short. It's just a couple hundred characters. Just I'll be right with you.
Got to be worded correctly. All right, move over, Papa John's. A new pizza is headed to town. As a proud Italian, I introduce the Piestro Pizza vending machine. The machine can create a personalized pizza from start to finish. This is crazy, in just 3 minutes. Watch.
Pizza is a fan favorite.
Everybody wants pizza. You can eat pizza at any time during the day or night.
Now, a new way to get it, anywhere, anytime.
Paestro is a fully automated pizzeria.
Massimo Noah De Marco is creating a pizza vending machine where pies are made fresh and on demand.
I fell in love with pizza when I was a little kid. I'm 7th generation in hospitality. My mom was a very talented chef back in Milan.
Paestro can create a pizza from start to finish in about 3 minutes.
Should we order a pizza? Absolutely.
You can watch the machine work its robotic magic through a giant window.
People watch the pizza being made.
Yes.
This is part of the process.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
That's the whole idea. We don't want anything in the back.
Crust makes its way down the line as sauce, cheese, and toppings are applied. Then it's into a special oven, cut, and boxed.
And there's your pizza.
The entire process is contactless. You retrieve your order from a locker when it's ready.
You can have on the go. You can have it at an airport. You can have it at your school, at your college, or at the bottom of your high-rise building.
Paestro even designed a special box that transforms into a tray.
The idea would be that you just tear it apart right here.
While engineers are still perfecting the machine,
There's a lot of code that went into this pizza.
the company has pre-sold nearly 5,000, which they plan to start building next year.
So it's Paestro, and wow, but 3 minutes? And there's so much fascinating about this, but there's so much wrong. Paestro doesn't plan to become a pizza brand of its own. Instead, the company will sell or rent the machines to other brands who will use them to put their pizza in more locations. Interesting. The cost to add one of these bad boys to a school, airport, or movie theater, $100,000. Katie, what do you think about the pizza vending machine in 3 minutes?
I am offended, and I'm not even Italian. But $13 per pizza is for that size pizza. Ugh. I'll stick with my cheap, like $5 cardboard pizza.
But 3 minutes, what kind of oven do they have to like?
It's going to be blasting. It's going to be blasting. For
Okay,
sure.
so finally, what goes better with a fresh hot pie than an ice cold beer? That is, of course, if you can keep the bugs away during the humid summer months. Not to worry, Coors Light has got you covered thanks to the thirst trap. Let's see how this modern marvel will save humanity as we know it. So watch this video as I'm describing it here. The first part is the easiest. You drink most of your Coors Light from the can. Once there's just a little bit of the brew left, you snap off the trap on the top of the can and move to the next one. Now, the thirsty mosquitoes will enter the can through a small opening in the trap, and once inside, they'll be stuck in the can, enjoying the last few sips of the beer and leaving you to enjoy your new beer without any more interference. But at least mosquitoes are getting drunk too, it would appear. Yeah, so the Coors Light Thirst Trap can be purchased for $5 at CoorsLightThirstTrap.com. All right, Katie, I know you've got a thought on this. I know. Do you have big problems with mosquitoes landing in your beverages?
No, I do not. And I live where there are mosquitoes.
Yes. Midwest.
What does it say, though, about Coors Light if you need to incentivize buying their beer by having mosquitoes? Like, they can't just sell the beer on its own because is it that bad? Someone tell me. I don't drink beer. But that's just... What have we come to as a society that we're at this level? Like, we need to have a mosquito trap for our beer cans.
I think part of it's entertaining. You get to watch to see if mosquitoes will be
Sure.
lured in there. And all right, there goes another one. Anyway, that wraps up this segment. More to come next time.
Well, friends, finally we've reached the end. And that's going to do it for today's show. So make sure, from all of us here, stay educated.